and welcome to another episode of the Music City Surrey Showcase, sponsored by the City of Surrey, where we aim to highlight the musical talent that the City of Surrey has to offer. Today, I am joined in the FUSIONpresents studio by Isobel Ralph, also known as This is Isobel. Isobel, how are we doing today?
We're doing groovy. How are you doing?
I'm doing so groovy. That's a perfect way to describe how I'm feeling as well, actually. So I'm glad you actually brought that up. I've been really looking forward to our conversation because we've known each other for a couple years now. You know, we both play in some form of a pop band, I would say, right?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, so we've played a couple shows together. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So let's kick it off here. So to start, I would like you to take us to the beginning of your musical journey and fast forward up until now. What does your musical journey look like?
Yeah, so ever since I was super, super little, like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, been singing all around at home. I started singing in talent shows when I was in school. And then I didn't start playing guitar and writing songs until kind of like 11 or 12 years old at the beginning of high school. And I was kind of doing my own thing. I was like, doing the singer-songwriter thing at the time. I was writing all my own stuff, still doing talent shows and doing other talent competitions in White Rock. And then I met, through a series of circumstances, I met the members of my band, The Escapes.
Okay.
And we met in the year of grade 12, and graduation, we were already starting to play shows downtown. And that's been super incredible. Learned a lot of musical lessons there, grew as a person and as a musician. And in the last year and a bit, I've been also trying to incorporate some of my own solo music as well. And that has been so enriching to how I see music and how I'm growing and becoming more comfortable with a writer and a musician as well.
Very cool. Right on. So you started in the band. Then now you said you're moving more towards this solo kind of aspect of things, right? And you recently put out a Christmas track.
That's right,
called Gingerbread. And it was actually really cool because you put a cause behind it. So I was wondering if you could tell me and the audience a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gingerbread is actually a super funny story because it happened like ridiculously fast. Like it happened before I can give myself a chance to overthink about all the ways that it could go wrong. And I hadn't made an independent solo release up until then, but I had been recording some demos with my friend Jesse, who used to be my guitar teacher actually, and he is part of a indie record label called My Tone Records. And so we have been just recording some demos in the last little month, and then we were in the studio like near the end of November, and I was like, just for fun, I started writing this Christmas song a couple days ago. Do you want to hear it? And he was like, yeah. And then I played him, the first verse and the chorus, and he's like, cancel all of our plans. We are recording this next week. We'll have it out by like the 1st of the 2nd. And I'm just like, you're joking, right? This is 2 days old. This is like a baby. You don't understand. And he was just like, no, I believe in this. And I think we can do some really cool stuff with it. And he's friends with a guy, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce his last name right, Gregory Old, who is the guy who is in charge of Blanket BC.
Okay.
And they give out blankets all over the Lower Mainland, like Vancouver, downtown east side, but they also go to Surrey, Langley, Abbotsford, basically anywhere that has people that are in need of some warmth, especially in the winter months. And so all of us just thought it would be an amazing idea to tie in this song to be part of a charity, to be part of giving back. Because, I mean, Christmas in general is meant to be the super giving season, but also in the midst of this whirlwind of a year, it's just like the people that usually suffer the most this year are suffering even more. So It's like, it was super cool to be a part of helping, not just in general, but just to be a part of this particular moment of time, to be doing something really cool. That was really meaningful to me. And the song, like, I'm so proud of how it all turned out, like, so fast. And I'm really happy about the way that it turned out. I wouldn't do anything differently, for sure.
That's awesome. I mean, it sounds great. It got a lot of traction on social media. Like a lot of people were sharing it.
Yeah,
like, a lot of people were really
cool.
into it. So I imagine that must have been such a cool experience for like your first song to put out like into the ether, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it being a Christmas song, you're kind of like, oh, like, probably had, like you said, you had your maybe doubts about it or whatever, but then it just like boom.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
no time to promote either. No time to promote.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't have time to, because I was also just finishing school too.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I didn't even have time to like think about, oh, I'm going to start doing like these posts and these stories. Like it was just drop it on, you know, a Wednesday morning and just see what happens. And I was just like, it was terrifying because I was like, maybe no one's going to see it. Maybe it'll get lost. Maybe people won't care. But like people ended up, it was more than I could have, you know, imagined. So I'm so grateful that it got the response that it did.
That's awesome. Well,
yeah.
I can't wait for the next release that will come out whenever that may
Yes.
be. So you touched on promoting and a little bit of posting. And so I remember, I can't remember whether it was through your social media or where I heard it, but I heard that you were taking a bit of a break from social media.
Yes.
And I kind of wanted to ask you about that because I think that's a very important thing to touch on with, you know, the kind of climate we currently live in rather. So what caused you to take that absence from social media and how do you think it benefited you?
That's a great question. I think 2020 has just been like this crazy year for so many reasons, and so many things happened, not only like, you know, just with the pandemic, but, you know, there were things that were happening like social justice issues that needed to be fought for and like climate change and just politics. And, you know, in the midst of all of that, everyone in the creative community is now finding new ways to like, okay, well, I gotta, you know, still find a way to make my music. I still gotta find a way to find work, like try to find all of these things. And I feel like there was something growing in the midst of, from the beginning of COVID. And then there were a few months where I was just like, oh, it's okay. I can figure out a way to do this. And then come September of that year, I was like, you know what? I gotta step back. Like there's just so much going on outside of my, not like my literal bubble, but just like my community and my band and my friends and my family, and trying to find my voice in the midst of all of that stuff happening was so overwhelming. And it was something that I had always toyed around with before, like, oh, like a social media break, like, you know, with most things, it's like, that's a good idea, but I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I have the willpower to do that.
Yeah.
But I basically, you know, I did it. And I didn't look at it for, when did I come back on? Mid-November. So it was about 2 months.
Oh,
it was
wow.
about 2 months. Yeah. No Facebook, no Instagram. I was still like kind of on YouTube, but it was more for like research and looking up stuff. I was listening to podcasts. I wanted to start consuming the kind of media that would inspire me to be more, as opposed to, you know, looking at everything happening, being like, what on earth can I contribute to this?
Yeah.
And I think, just to try and tie that all together, I think a way that I came out of that break was having a more certain footing in the kind of person I wanted to be on social media.
Yeah.
And I feel like I really needed to step out and distance myself in order to get more clarity on that. And that's helped with my music,
Gotcha.
not just in my personal life as well.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It's kind of like a little bit of a reset, like a social reset almost. Like, that's a good way to think of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you another question here, because you said you came back in like mid-November,
Yep.
but before mid-November, we actually shared the virtual stage.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
We played different days. So my band Royal Oak, I can't remember if we played on a Sunday. I think you guys played on a Saturday, right?
Yes.
It was the TEDx conference at SFU.
Yes. Yeah.
So what was it like creating that content for the conference? Like it was kind of weird because you had to pre-record it, right? So what was that experience like?
I mean, gosh, when I think we started recording for that sometime in October, like early mid-October, and that was when cases were okay. So like groups of a certain number were allowed to like meet together.
Yeah.
And so I think the band and I had been able to meet a few times to practice before. And then we wanted to get together, and we were still getting used to like, you know, how to space during a practice. And now it's like, oh, we got to space during a gig, and there's a camera here. And I remember there was one, we have a blooper reel coming out, so people will see this eventually,
Okay,
but
looking
it's so
forward to
hard
that.
to like see this at like having a camera be there and then having all of us be, you know, spaced as you do. And I like I found it so hard to look at the camera. It was so hard to look at the camera, to look natural. And I remember that there was one take that we did. Where I think I was flat or sharp on a note, and I just did like a like on camera, and then I think Max O'Keefe was just like, "It's still rolling, Isobel. Like you can't do that. You wouldn't do that at a show." And I was like, "Oh shoot!" So it's just moments like that where it feels like you're practicing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of snap yourself into like, okay, this is a gig. Like you gotta, have a show face on, for lack of a better word. You gotta look professional, and if you do have mess ups like that, you can't just have that look on your face like, you have to kind of pretend like you nailed it and move on. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me and for all of us, I think, but it was still super fun.
We kind of went through the same thing. It was really weird where it was like you make the mistake, but it's still rolling. It's like keep going. So and the thing is, you can do a couple takes, so it's interesting. It's a very weird contrast to actually playing. But thank you so much, Isobel. That was some great answers there, some great insights. Loved our chat. So where can people find you in terms of Spotify, social media? I mean, kind of ironic now.
The ether of the social media, exactly. I have a Facebook page. I'm on Instagram at This Is Isobel, and my Facebook page is also This Is Isobel as well. And in terms of not social media, music platforms, I'm on Spotify and Apple, SoundCloud. And those are the 3 that I can remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there will be more.
Perfect. Sounds good.
So,
we'll include all that in the description as well. So, Isobel, thank you so much. We're going to get you to play us a song now, which I'm very much looking forward to. And for you out there listening at home, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Music City Surrey Showcase. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. This is an original. It's called Finally. When I was a little girl, I was so young and dumb, break my back trying to please everyone, but that's a lost cause. I know that's something you never can control. Now I'm in so living 22. I got a lot of shit that I'm working through, but that's just the way it goes when you're coming into your own. So baby, please just give me room to grow. I'm ready to see who I'm supposed to be. Finally. Yeah. Nothing's gonna take the centerpiece. I'm bit by bit starting to believe I'm free. Finally. I'm learning how to love me. I'm accepting my quirks, calling out sabotage, putting in all the work. It's therapeutic. Even on the days where I feel less than ludic, I remember why I do it. Cause when you got lots of friends but you still feel alone, when your body's a temple but it don't feel like home, gotta change your state of mind to come out the other side. So baby, please just give me room to grow. I'm ready to see who I'm supposed to be. Finally. Yeah. Nothing's gonna take the centerpiece. I'm bit by bit starting to believe I'm free. Finally. Yeah. So baby, please just give me room to grow. I'm ready to see who I'm supposed to be. Finally. Nothing's gonna take the centerpiece.